The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello and welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Darren Jaime, and today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our borough. Coming up on today's show, we'll give you an update on what's been going on right here in the Bronx. Plus, in national news, Jared Kushner is under FBI scrutiny due to the latest reports on his meeting with Russian officials. Meanwhile, Michael Flynn will officially turn over documents after being issued a subpoena by the Intelligence Committee. We'll explain more with our political commentator. Then after that, we'll talk to a local representative from a Better Balanced Life organization discussing how the organization goes about helping families succeed while they're at work and caring for their family. And then we're going to talk to a Bronx Borough Safety Director that recently won an award for his outstanding public service. We'll find out what the experience was like for him and what it meant to win an award as a Bronxite. And then we're going to hear from an organization that uses paddleball to encourage kids to exercise and keep the youth off the street. All this and much more is heading your way, so stay tuned because right now we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I'm your host, Darren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, May 31st. Can you believe it? We're already at the end of May, and you're watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. We want to encourage you to stay connected to us. Now, you can find out more about us at Twitter at BronxNet TV and Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. Well, starting off with some local updates here in our borough, it was a somber remembrance as Bronxites came together in solidarity as a street in the Tremont section of our borough was named in honor of Khalif Browder. Bronxites, community leaders, and family members of Khalif Browder gathered together for the unveiling of the Khalif Browder Way, located on East 181st Street and Prospect Avenue. Browder committed suicide at the age of 22 after spending years in solitary confinement for a crime that he did not commit. The Khalif Browder story has touched millions of people and also has helped to end solitary confinement for those that are younger than the age of 21. In other news, students in the Bronx and Brooklyn will have free books to read this summer. The city plans to provide 10 to 12 books to 29,000 kids in both boroughs, according to Mayor Bill de Blasio. The $1.4 million program is part of the city literacy program that will not only provide books, but also tutors in District 9 and 10 in the Bronx. Currently, about 41% of students read at grade level, says the mayor, and officials are hoping to have 100% by 2026. Well, Mayor Bill de Blasio is also raising his voice in support of the homeless. Now, the mayor made a promise to New Yorkers to stop using rundown private apartments that are called cluster sites to temporarily house homeless families. The city's been able to move about 3,000 people out of the 842 cluster sites, but about 9,000 are still living in those poor conditioned apartments. Now, many of those are living right here in our borough. Officials say the goal is to completely end cluster sites, but it won't end until the year 2021. People across New York City remembered those who had served our country for Memorial Day. Governor Governor Andrew Cuomo actually greeted veterans and thanked them for their services at the annual Valley Stream Parade. Mayor Bill de Blasio was also there honoring the fallen at the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum and also participated in the annual wreath ceremony. President Trump also gave recognition to those that have passed at the Arlington National Cemetery and stated, quote, "Words cannot measure the depth of their devotion." The Bronx historic Orchard Beach, guess what? It's officially open for Bronx residents. Orchard Beach is officially set to be restored through a $50 million investment that includes a $20 million capital fund from the mayor and $10 million from Governor Cuomo. Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. and Assemblymember Carl Hasty are also chipping in. Now, the city doesn't know how long the development will take, but the beach will remain open for the summer. In other news, the Common Pantry, in partnership with Banana Kelly Improvement Association, opened its new location right here in our borough. Our Justin Rodriguez was there and brings us more with the grand opening.
So happy to welcome all of you to something, again, that's been quite some time in the making, New York Common Pantry's Choice Pantry Bronx.
On Hoe Avenue in the Bronx, the New York Common Pantry, in partnership with Banana Kelly Community Improvement Association, opens its newest satellite location. The facility provides nutritious meal options for local residents, as well as bring together a community that both feels empowered and dignified by having the choice in what they and their family eat.
New York Common Pantry is an emergency food / social service organization. We help people who have needs, whether that be social service needs, resource needs, people living in poverty, people that are struggling to make ends meet, working folks, people unemployed, seniors, people of all different backgrounds and ages, and our goal is to help lift people out of poverty or help bridge some of the resource gaps that people have.
So today we're having the ribbon cutting for our new satellite Choice Pantry Bronx and Help 365 Bronx. The purpose of the new satellite is to really meet the demand where it's occurring. So by creating a presence here in the Bronx, we're able to really provide services to folks without having them needing to travel to our East Harlem locations.
We've been around for about 40 years, and this is our first attempt at having a pantry, which fits into our general healthy living initiatives, where we have, now 4 gardens in the backyard spaces, and we have cooking classes, and so this is part of a general program of trying to keep people well nourished and well fed and make sure they make the right choices in food.
In the short time the facility has been open, it has already successfully brought fresh products to numerous families in the South Bronx community.
It's wonderful that they are coming to the Bronx, and I hope we're going to see more of them. This is really something that this community is in dire need of.
This is an incredible facility. It's going to serve something like 300 families a day here. Out of this little room, it's unbelievable the work these folks are doing at New York Common Pantry. Governor is so proud to support them, the organization of the volunteers and the funders, Michael and Stephen, the executive director. Governor is so proud of this accomplishment.
Many supporters, volunteers, and members gathered to cut the ribbon on the pantry, opening the door to opportunity to parents looking to provide for their families.
We're able to choose what we want to eat, which I think is fantastic. So you can do it online, or when you come here, if you don't have access to a computer, they have a small little computer thing that they use, and they ask you. So you can choose. And for me, I think it's important that we don't feel like we're begging or that we don't matter, but it gives us a sense of like, wow, we're shopping.
I'm grateful because they're helping me and my children, and it's hard right now with everything changing over. And we're just grateful that these guys came here.
Playing a crucial role in the organization, Michael Nachman understands the importance of food security in a person's life, and it is that belief that leads him to be honored here in the Bronx location.
I have been involved with NYCP for a long time, and the pantry has grown over the years, first at 109 in Manhattan, and now moving into the Bronx as well. So it's really exciting to see this expansion occur and to see us broadening our outreach to more clients and other communities.
The newest Bronx location represents not only a positive expansion for the New York Common Pantry, but also a true example of the hard work a few individuals take to begin to change a family's life. This is Justin Rodriguez for BronxNet.
And thank you, Justin. We have to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll catch up on the Russian investigation and the latest out of Washington, D.C. in just a few.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised.
Sergey, yeah, he's the foreign minister for...
Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally. I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands? My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on the sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.
And welcome back to Open. Jared Kushner is back in the hot seat in the midst of the Russian investigation. According to reports from the Washington Post, Kushner sought secret back-channel deals with Russians in his December meeting with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Investigators are trying to figure out why he met with the Russian banker along with the Russian ambassador. In other news, former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn will also officially hand over documents that were requested by the Senate committee by June the 6th, along with personal documents, according to inside sources. Now, joining us to talk about the latest topics, we welcome now our political commentator and owner of Retrovision Media, Lee Bynes.
Good to be here.
Lee, good to have you again.
Uh-huh.
Stays busy, huh?
Not a dull moment.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this here as we talk about Jared Kushner. Obviously, not a good look for Washington or the Trump administration with this going on. This, as we know, White House staffers are in the process of resigning, fired. What can we make of this?
Well, nothing good, but let's try and put things into context right now with regards to Jared Kushner, married the boss's daughter, pretty much protected right now by Donald Trump and forces in the administration. However, I want to protect my own credibility because a lot of people are running with these stories, and these stories are essentially being driven by anonymous sources and leaks. That said, I would say that what's happening in the Trump administration right now, those who are getting ahead of their skis would be wise to kind of pull back on the leaks and the anonymous sources and focus primarily on what we actually know. And that is, we know that the Trump administration, the Trump campaign, all of his associates have something to hide. What? We don't know, but we do know there. And I would think that it would be smarter to focus on the cover-up as opposed to the crime, simply because the crime, if there are any there, it's going to take some time to sort out. And when we want to discuss, get into depth with regards to what Jared Kushner did, we have to remember that opening up a back channel with another nation is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it happens on a regular basis, pointing to Barack Obama when he opened up a back channel with Iran in order to get what he needed done before he announced what was happening to the public. Without doing that, he would have faced so much heat from the Israelis, from Congress, that that deal may have never gotten off the ground. But where Jared may have crossed the line, if you will, is that, see, Barack Obama did not go to the Iranians' Republican Guard in their, and deal with Tehran's intelligence community to keep that secret. This guy went to a Russian facility specifically for the purpose of keeping the United States government unaware of what they were doing. What they were doing, we're still trying to investigate right now. But what he did right now is enough to cause a lot of concern and make sure that this investigation proceeds a lot further.
Another matter that the president is currently facing is his president attorney, Michael Cohen, is possibly could face investigation by the House and Senate Intelligence Committee. Now his personal attorney is saying that he will gladly testify if Congress subpoenas him. A lot of things have been said about, first of all, the need for the president to have to hire a personal attorney in this way to go. Agree with this whole method?
He has no choice. The president is under investigation himself. He probably realizes that by now. Now he got a lawyer, and now his lawyer is lawyering up. If you follow that along the way, you cannot get away from the fact that, again, the administration is in trouble. The Russians are behind the scene. And the reporting that we've been doing is trying to figure out how the Russians have been able to accomplish what they've been able to accomplish. Their method of operation so far, and it's not just with the United States, it's with Germany, France, and anywhere else that they can find a way to disrupt the West, the entire West. That's not just the United States, but the West in general, by disrupting their elections, creating doubt, creating confusion. And if you look at Washington, again, you have to say that President Putin is having one big laugh, because he's moving his agenda, and his agenda is to make sure that Donald Trump has no way of achieving his.
Mm-hmm. And the question, I guess, on the hearts and minds of many people here is, given the fact that we're doing all this, the Russian investigation, what's going on in Washington, D.C., we're talking about Michael Cohen right now, a lot of people are worried about policy and being able to govern America effectively. And how is America going to be governed effectively when most of our time, most of our media, most of this is being governed or being dominated by investigations and the threat of and the threats we see?
Well, it's pretty obvious that there isn't any governing going on right now. The Trump administration is in protection or siege mode, if you will. When everyone in the administration is essentially has an attorney and their attorneys are telling them that they really shouldn't be talking about this, they shouldn't be talking about that. It's difficult for these individuals to meet in an office and be able to figure out a way forward for the country. There's a lot of pressure, not only on the president, but there's a lot of pressure on everybody within his sphere. And again, the fact, one of the issues that we were able to ferret out is the fact that this is a month of Ramadan right now. The State Department does not have a full staff. In fact, there's a lot of empty desks. The reason why they missed that one and didn't have an event scheduled for that is because really Rex Tillerson has no help behind the scenes, and that's one of the reasons why we're facing all these issues. That's one of the reasons why when Trump went abroad unprepared, Sean Spicer yesterday was on air talking about, oh, we had a great time, things went well with the G7, things went well at NATO, and a day later, this is what he was saying yesterday, but the reports that are coming out is that Angela Merkel is pretty much fed up with Donald Trump in the United States and made a statement that Europe is going to have to go on their own. The Italian Prime Minister yesterday echoed those sentiments precisely, saying that Europe needs to take its own future in its own hands. I believe personally that Vladimir Putin has placed the United States in a situation where they've actually isolated themselves.
People so far have been killed in this attack.
They've actually isolated themselves from the rest of the world, and I think that Europe will start to pull back. Fewer deals will be made, fewer agreements will be offered, because essentially they just can't trust Donald Trump.
As we talk about the trust of the president, I guess a lot of questions about midterm elections. We've had this conversation before. With all that's going on right now, we know how midterm elections are getting ready to come around the corner. How much do you think this is going to play a part in voters coming out to the polls?
Well, you know what? People are constantly looking around to find out whether or not his base is being affected by this. There's a lot of people who will stick by him no matter what, but it's difficult to see in 6 months from now, looking down the road, whether or not the president is able to get enough done to keep people in his corner. When these folks realize that the health care plan that's going to be presented to them is not going to be anywhere near what Donald Trump promised, when they don't see those jobs coming back, when they don't see those, the big money folks, when they don't see the tax reform going through or the tax being lowered significantly, they're going to start to pull back, because these folks have to go back to their town halls, they got to face their constituents, and they're going to have to explain, again, with a great deal of depth, why they're still supporting Donald Trump. I don't see that happening. I see people pretty much looking out for their own good down the line.
And one of the major moves that he had coming out of being elected president was the fact that he was able to sustain jobs at Carrier. But looking now, Carrier just announced last week, of course, that 300 of those jobs are now going to be cut and other jobs are going to Mexico. What does this do for the president's image by way of Carrier? Because in all fairness, Carrier did say that some jobs were still going to be lost in spite of the fact that the president's showing up.
But you have to take this in context. 300 jobs, 1,000 jobs is actually a drop in the bucket, considering the United States, in order to maintain a decent economy, has got to create between 190 and 235,000 jobs every month. That's not happening. He's had a couple of good months up until now, but when you look behind the numbers and see the types of jobs that are being created, the pay scale that these jobs are delivering, it's nothing that one can hang their hat on and say that we should move forward in this direction. So no, again, the job issue, the healthcare issue, the tax issue, the infrastructure bill issue, his policy, foreign policy with regards to what's happening in Afghanistan, what's happening in Iraq right now, they're all under some serious pressure.
Got to get you out of here, but before I do, let me ask you one
Certainly.
last question. Democrats don't have a blank check in this midterm election, obviously with the Republican Party and some of the failings that are going on, admittedly, in-house. What do Democrats have to do in order to seize back at least the House and possibly some sort of seats in the Senate?
Well, as I've said many times before, I believe the Democrats are going to have to come up with a plan. See, the same issues that Donald Trump and the GOP is facing with regards to artificial intelligence, robotics, the fact that it's going to be a difficult time preparing Americans for the future economy, they have to have a plan. They have to be able to come out of the gate and say, this is how we're going to get people back to work. This is what your health plan is going to look like. This is we're going to do something other than transfer wealth from the rich from the poor to the rich. They have to do that numerically and do it on a regular basis, and they have to do it with fresh faces, new leadership, and other than that, they're going to find themselves we'll find ourselves in the same predicament that we were before, bad and worse.
Lee Bonds, that's why we bring you here. J.C. Polanco off this week. J.C. will join us probably next week. Lee, thanks a lot.
That'd be good to see him too.
All righty.
All right.
Well, staying, Lee referenced Ramadan. We want to bring some breaking news coming out of Kabul. A huge suicide bomb goes off in Kabul, Afghanistan. 80 people are dead. 300 are believed to be injured. Now, the suicide bomber has not yet been identified. Those who are responsible for the bombing have not yet claimed who is responsible for it, but yet and still one of the deadliest during the time of Ramadan. So we'll continue to bring you more information in our news and international news this week and next week as we continue here on Open. Taking a quick break. We'll be back with more show coming up right after this.
1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family. The first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Hey, it's Ava, and this is Tess from Do Your Selfie, where we recreate the hottest looks from today's biggest music videos.
After cleaning out our closet, we have a lot of clothes we don't wear anymore.
Like this old pile of t-shirts.
It's not garbage, it's actually a new rug.
And to make it, all you need to do is cut, tie, and glue.
Cut the t-shirt into strips.
Tie the strips into knots.
And glue the knots to the bath mat. I love it. Give your garbage another life.
And recycle.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Through the organization's campaign and advocacy, A Better Balance is committed to expanding choices for people at any income level so that they can care for their families without sacrificing their economic security. Here to talk about the organization and what they offer for people with families, we welcome now attorney Molly Weston Williamson, and we thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Good to have you. So for people who don't know about A Better Balance, share with us a little bit about your organization.
So at A Better Balance, we believe that no one should ever have to choose between their health or the health of their family and their job. And so we work to protect working people through policy advocacy, passing really good laws, education and outreach to make sure people know about the rights they have, and then direct legal services, enforcing those rights for people.
And when we talk about services that are provided, you do believe in fairness for pregnant workers. You are very aggressive about that. Share with us a little bit about the work that's being done with that.
So fairness for pregnant workers is really one of our core issues and an issue on which we've been national leaders. Every day in this country, even in 2017, pregnant workers are being pushed off the job because they need a small change. They need a water bottle. They need an extra bathroom break. Stuff that every day should be easy to accommodate. But luckily here in New York City, we have a law called the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, which A Better Balance helped write and pass, which guarantees workers the right to what's called a reasonable accommodation, a little change to make your job work for you around pregnancy, childbirth, and even breastfeeding, which should ensure that workers can get what they need so that they can keep working when they need their job the most.
And so with this, obviously I'm hearing this and I'm hearing a little bit, I've heard a little bit about this, but many people don't know a lot about knowing this and knowing their rights, particularly as a pregnant worker. So give us this, because I know you give some education and letting people know what their rights exactly are.
So what the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act gives you the right to is to get some kind of a change that you or your doctor says that you need in order to continue working when it's healthy for you while you're pregnant. And what that's going to be depends on the situation of your job. So for example, if you're someone who has a job where you're on your feet all day, like you're a cashier, maybe your doctor says that while you're pregnant, it's not healthy for you to be standing all day. But if you could just have a stool to sit on, you can keep working, you can keep doing what your boss needs you to do, and you can keep supporting your family. It's those kinds of little changes that can make the situation work for everyone, so you don't have to be pushed off your job while you're pregnant.
So for pregnant workers who want more information, what do they do in terms of finding out where their rights are and what's available to them?
Well, what they should do is call us. Really at the core of our work is our free and confidential legal hotline, where in English and Spanish we provide information and legal services under laws like the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, but also laws like the city sick time law, which gives most workers the right to time off. It's usually paid when they or their family members are sick or injured or need some kind of medical treatment. And a brand new law we're really proud of, the new state paid family leave law, which will start in January of 2018. So when you have that kind of a situation, if you call us, we're at 212-430-5982 or visit abetterbalance.org. We'll help you talk through your situation. You don't have to get anybody in trouble or file a complaint. We're happy to just talk through what your rights are, what your options might be, and figure out what makes sense for you.
Breakdown what's coming in January. You said the new law that's coming out in January.
So starting on January 1st, 2018, New York's going to have the best paid family leave law in the country, something we're really proud of. So almost everyone who works in New York State will have the right to take paid, job protected, so you can't get fired for using it, time off to bond with a new child, including a child newly placed for adoption or for foster care, including dads, to care for a seriously ill family member, or to address certain needs related to military families and active duty military service.
That's awesome. And we know that the governor was very adamant about making sure that this was done, talked about his own personal experience in that and making that happen. So you guys have several campaigns that are actually going, and I know you have some Better Balance campaigns. So for people who want to know more about the campaigns that you're got going on, let them know.
Absolutely. So first, I actually just want to report a major victory that happened just yesterday. Mayor de Blasio signed into law a whole package of laws that'll protect workers who work in fast food or in retail against abusive scheduling practices. So those laws will do things like ending on-call scheduling. They'll give people who need more hours to support their family the right to get additional hours, and even gives you the right to know your schedule in advance if you're covered. So that's brand new right here in New York.
And obviously we'll be hearing more about that. We'll be reporting that as well. And so there's a confidential hotline. So if somebody does have some challenges, they do have the ability to call somebody. So give them more about who can call this confidential hotline and who should be the people that ring the phone.
So if you're somebody who works in really anywhere in New York State, and you're having some kind of problem at work around your needs for your health or caring for somebody, including regular childcare, and you're not sure if what's happening to you is quite right or quite legal, and just want to find out what your options are, you can give us a call. We're not a government agency. Anything you say to us is completely confidential, and we do talk to people regardless of immigration status. We always want to make sure people know that. Calling us doesn't mean that you're getting anybody in trouble if that's not right for your situation. It's just finding out what makes sense, and then if you do need to take it to the next level, we can talk you through how to do that.
And what are some of the calls that you kind of typically get?
So to give you one example of a client that I represented, one of our clients had been working for an organization for several years. She'd been a star employee, promotions, raises, the works. On a Wednesday, she needed to call out sick from work because she needed to go to the emergency room. 2 days later, Friday at 5 p.m., she was fired with no explanation. And that's not right, and that's not fair, and in New York City, that's not legal. So we represented her under a law called the New York City Earned Sick Time Act, and fought for and won her recovery through a city agency called the Department of Consumer Affairs. That's just one example of the kinds of cases we handle.
And so people have the opportunity to call this confidential hotline and do that. Is there a typical fear for people calling this hotline? Because sometimes they feel like they're really worried about, you know, whether it's going to be retribution or things of that nature. So is there a fear, or are people freely picking up the phone and calling?
People are often afraid of retaliation, but one of the things that's important is making sure that laws have protections, which all the laws we've talked about today do have important protections against retaliation.
So if people want more information, once again, give us the number.
212-430-5982 in English and Spanish.
All righty, Molly Weston Williams, staff attorney for A Better Balance. We want to thank you for sharing with us here on Open. And certainly if anybody is out there and you're feeling like your rights are being violated, you've got the information at the bottom of the screen that you can either get the email or the phone call and make it happen. I'm sure Molly and A Better Balance will be glad to take care of you. Molly, thanks so much for coming with us.
Thank you.
All righty, stay tuned. We got more show coming up. We'll be right back right after this.
Look, it's those guys.
What's good? What's up? What's happening today?
Let's do those pearly whites, man.
Yeah. The boys, check it out. Stand up, do my terrorists, don't compare us. Go.
Ooh, cute. Are you good to try?
I'm fine. Hey girl, what's up? What's the name? What's good? What's up?
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir.
See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the creative galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Each one of our journeys keeps us.
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
We'll never get older. Each one
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
Vincent DiGaetano was one out of 7 public servants to be awarded with the Fund for the City of New York's Sloan Public Service Award. Now, each recipient who was honored received the cash prize for $10,000, and not only that, just great notoriety. Now, here to tell us about the award, we welcome now the former Bronx Borough Safety Director and Principal of the Bronx Alternative Learning Center, Vincent DiGaetano. Thank you so much for joining us here. First of all, congratulations are in order.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great honor. It's regarded as the Nobel Prize of City Government. And for you, a recipient, what does that mean for you?
Well, for me, it's a little surreal in that respect because you kind of just put your head down every day and you go to work and you do the best you can for everybody and everybody around you in the best interest of everybody. And then you get a phone call one day and they say you've been nominated for an award, and you say, really? Are you sure? Like I don't know what I did. And then going through the process, you get a chance to kind of really reflect upon some of the things that you've done and some of the great people that you've had the opportunity to work with, and some of the students and the parents and the teachers that you've been able to really work with and serve. And you kind of look back and you think that the award itself is not just about an award for you, but it's about an award for every person that's been involved in your entire career.
Well, let's look a little bit at your career. 7 years as a teacher at DeWitt Clinton High School. 2008, you're named campus manager of Adelaide Stevenson in the Bronx, housing 9 smaller schools, and they needed a more secure environment. And in 6 months, you were able to turn that around, and then you become the director, the Bronx Safety Director for 200 schools in the Bronx. Big transition.
It was. I think every single day, when I went into the safety side from the classroom, it was something that was a little more unique. It was I think, an education for me that was just a different side of what a school actually is, of everyday operations. And it really, the job was listed a lot as safety, but it really became about student services. And it became about every student service that's involved in every aspect, from the time that they get off a train or get off a bus and walk into the building, to how lunch is served and how their student voice is heard, and how they're able to kind of transition in and out of a building, and then after-school programs and community-based organizations that provide service every single day, and really coordinating all of that together. And you really go away from maintaining a safe environment, and you go away from just the idea of safety and the more idea of culture and tone.
Take me a little bit deeper into that. How does the day work for you, and what exactly does your day entail?
Well, I've held a lot of jobs, so over the last couple of years, when it comes to kind of really in the best interest of students. So, as a safety director, a lot of it really is contingent upon what the day brings. And obviously the priority is always anything that's an emergency for a school. And if we had any type of emergency, we obviously base it off of whatever protocol it takes. If we had to evacuate a school, lock down a school, shelter in a school, all those protocols take into place, but it's all about making sure that everybody has the right information, that we go ahead and put them in the safest environment that they can be not only safe but also learn, and also relay all that information to everybody, the community that needs to, the parents that need to, just to really have that feeling of safety other than that just the general safety itself. But when we're not doing some things like that, it's obviously always in the interest of preparing for it. So it's about training for it. It's about finding ways to hold tabletop organizations, hold events, hold meetings that really are contingent. And I mean, we rely very, very heavily in doing so upon involving all stakeholders of a school. And it's really not just the stakeholders inside of a school, but it's outside. It's the community members, it's the parents, It's the first responding agencies, ones that you think of like the NYPD, FDNY, ones that you don't always think of like Con Edison, that are integral parts of really maintaining that environment, that kind of talking through and walking through situations that may arrive. So being that the priority is an emergency, you're always either responding to one to get it back to where it is, or preparing for basically making sure that if something was to happen, you put everything back into place.
Awesome. But tell me now, because you've got this transition going, because you were the former Bronx Safety Director, and now you're the principal at the Bronx Alternative Learning Center. What's that like as a transition for you?
So again, it's all part of, I think, a process. I think we learn every single day. My biggest teachers every day are the students. And I think that that's always something I've maintained since I began teaching, because what they do is they provide us with their needs every single day. And one of the things that we do at the Alternate Learning Center is we work with the population, any student that serves a superintendent suspension from grade 6 to 12. When they're now no longer in their school, they come to our school for a period of time. And what we do is we help to do a lot of different components. One is return them to school. Another is we work very closely with teaching them intervention skills, help to support their family and give them a great student experience. So when they do return to that school, that they are able to transition their way back and obviously not have any type of disruption during their educational path, and get them basically right on the right track. So in doing so, we have a population that changes readily, but we also make sure that we best service them for whatever time that they're with us and bring them back into school.
Before I've carefully omitted that there's one thing that you did do. You helped to create this general response protocol, and that's something that was pretty major. Talk to us about what the general response protocol was and how effective that's been.
So one of the things is when we, in working, when I first became a borough safety director, there are a lot of codes, there are a lot of wordings that come to when it comes to specifically emergencies. In doing so, one of the things that what ended up happening was we created something called the General Response Protocol, which gave it a very common language, a very easy to learn language for not only for staff, not only for students, and also for parents. And it was coded not only with wording, but also with symbols that were 100% uniform throughout the 1,700 plus schools and the 1,200 plus buildings for over 1.1 million students throughout the city. In doing so, we're able to obviously work not only with our schools, with our parents, but also with the first responding agencies, that in the case that there is an emergency, we call it exactly what it is. So instead of calling something, having some random code that nobody really responds to, or somebody has trouble, in the course of their busy day of meeting, we call something a lockdown. We call that what it is. And again, it's not only couples it with language, but couples it with on-site training and understandable training, and training that everybody from pre-K all the way to continuing education can not only understand and comprehend, but it's something that they can also remember while they're also focusing on something that's more important, like classwork.
Well, you received the New York Sloan Public Service Award, and as we said, it's considered like the Nobel Prize for the city government. And if you want to know just exactly how it goes down, well, it happens like this. You're nominated by your colleague, your peer, your friend, and you were selected by more than 200, or amongst 250,000 people. You ranked there in the top 10. So as you go home and you think about this, what does it mean all to you and carrying out from day to day?
For me, it's special because it speaks to this borough. And the fact that I'm able to go ahead and stand up in any way, shape, or form and represent this borough is very special to me, because I've spent my entire career here. I joke all the time that I probably know every street in this borough, and then I know my own neighborhood sometimes, because what ends up happening is you just become part of it. And you become part of every aspect of it, and you walk down the street and you see people that you know on a daily basis. And to me, just to have the honor to be able to stand up and say that I'm from here and we did work here on behalf of every person we work with here is a very special honor.
Mr. DiGaetano, thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thank you.
Affectionately known as Vinny. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to have you. All righty. Well, listen, and congratulations. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. And you stay right there. Don't go anywhere. Taking a quick break. Be right back. Got more open. Coming up after this.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Cinderella found the pet that fits her perfectly. Tiana gave her pet the royal treatment. Belle found beauty where no one else did. And you can too. Share your heart. Share your love. Bring home your forever friend. Make a shelter pet part of your world. Happily Ever After begins at theshelterpetproject.org.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Lehman College opened its first virtual reality center for students right here in the Bronx. Now, faculty and students and community members all gathered for the grand opening. Katie Alloy Knight was there, and she brings us our story.
Program has now reached the Bronx, where Eon Reality Inc. has partnered with Lehman College in providing an augmented and virtual reality academy and development lab.
This is really a big part of the future in terms of virtual reality and augmented reality. I mean, now we live in a place where we have cars that drive themselves with a computer, and this has multiple applications for industry, for education. This is a private-public partnership of a company based in California with projects all over the world that is looking for people who know how to code and create the kinds of applications that they need so that they can service industry and education and entertainment and all the other applications.
This virtual reality training center is the first ever to be seen in the Bronx, and it will give CUNY students and NYC residents opportunities for employment. And here's why.
It's very exciting. So what we're doing is a school where we initially teach people for 4 weeks theory about virtual reality, and then we enter in a project-based learning phase where they actually apply what they learned in real project context. We are open for everybody, so we are welcoming people with open arms. We don't have actually a lot of formal requirements. We used to have it, but we want people that are passionate, people that want to work with new technology and create the future.
Students will learn how to create virtual reality applications.
That's in the first 4 weeks. Afterwards, we come with real projects, like for example nursing, where we bring subject matter experts, and they will work with those subject matter experts to develop applications for nursing, so nurses can learn faster, remember longer, and decide better.
I think it's pretty good, mostly because we don't get to have this kind of like resources, and I feel also it still needs to get more promoted, because even if I tell one of my friends, about this program, they will not see themselves doing it, and I feel like just this program having like a price so cheap, it could make anyone, oh, let me try it out, to see if I can do it.
It's very exciting. There's a lot ahead of us. And I'm just really excited to get into this field.
All those young individuals, passionate individuals that join our training, they're going to go through the program which for the first 12 weeks will be focused on general knowledge transfer. So we're going to teach about everything about project management, introduction to augmented virtual reality market and the potential of that market. We will teach the students about the 3D modeling, the animation, rigging animation, about the 2D, 3D graphics, about the interaction design, programming, scripting. All of that is in our program, as well as the developing for mobile platforms, for Android and iOS, for developing for immersive systems like the one which you can see over here, and being able to also have a practical aspects of within the training. So for the second stage of the training, we will work on the project. We will use the modern agile training methodology, project methodologies to deliver the project, the real projects, which comes from the Eon Reality clients, from the needs which we see in the local market in Bronx with partner with Lehman, and students will be developing those kind of applications.
NYC residents and CUNY students will now learn how to take advantage of this new virtual reality training program that will run for 11 months on the Lehman College campus, while creating new and exciting opportunities in the industry of their choice. For BronxNet, I am Kadia Loy-Knight.
And thank you, Kadia. Well, the Paddleball Family Alliance brings the youth and the community together through the paddleball sport. It also gives youth skills that they can not only use in sports, but also in life. And joining us now to discuss the PFA Youth Paddleball Clinics and their latest GoFundMe initiative, we welcome now President of the PFA, Mike Melendez, and Vice President Mitchell Goldberg. And good to have you.
How are you? Thank you for having us.
Hey, glad to be here. 'Tis the season. Yeah. It's getting better outside.
It's getting better outside.
It's getting warmer.
Yes, it is.
I want to go to the golf course, and you want people to come out and play paddleball.
Exactly.
So talk to us about the Paddleball Family Alliance. Obviously, you guys have been doing some great work.
Well, a little bit about the Paddleball Family Alliance. It was founded in 2014. We are a 501(c) nonprofit organization. Our mission is to grow the sport of paddleball across the tri-state area and eventually nationally, by injecting the youth back into the sport. And the way we do that is through our clinics, where they learn the fundamentals of the game. And in addition to that, we teach them sportsmanship, self-confidence, self-esteem, and all that good stuff that hopefully they'll carry with them throughout their everyday life.
When we talk about paddleball, I think sometimes the first thing people think of is tennis, and then you talk about paddleball. Difference. Give people the difference.
Well, paddleball started in the late 50s. It's an outdoor sport. You need a wall, you need a paddle, and you need a ball. That's the basic of the sport. But it grew, I would say, from the late 60s to the 80s, there was over 500,000 people playing the sport. But as times progressed, different sports came out. Racquetball came out. The technology explosion happened. People were starting to be on their phones and being on their computers. So what we're trying to do is start them young, because we're at our middle age and we're finding more and more people are aging. So we're trying to get the kids into the sport early, get them outside, tell them put down the phones, put down the earbuds, take off the beat headphones, and get outside, get some sun, get some competition, get some sweat. The kid, you're sitting on a couch, you're not going to get any better looking sitting on a couch all day. Right. So what we're doing is getting the kids in the inner cities, in the boroughs, get them out there. We run the clinics. They get some exercise. We have some fun, and we teach them something that they're not getting in their schools.
And I tell you that I remember, and I told you off air that I remember going to Orchard Beach, watching huge paddleball tournaments, great crowds, and great actual competition. Your goal right now is to really see paddleball introduced across New York State by 2020, right?
Yes, our goal is exactly that. Like right now, what we're doing is we partner with the Kids Bay Boys and Girls Club, and we hold clinics, weekly clinics after school program and in the summer, where we get 25, 40 kids. So that's a good start, but eventually we want to get into the school. We want to establish this program in the high school, middle school, and hopefully that will help us grow the game, where we want it to be.
And in addition to that, you want to take your clinics and move your clinics along too,
right? And
continue that as well.
And we're looking for funding. We're looking for sponsorship. We donate our time. We don't get paid to do what we do. Our pay is the passion. We want to instill that on the kids, is the passion to play. So Mike started a GoFundMe, the Paddleball Family Alliance, and we want to. It generates funds so we can buy paddles for kids. We can give them goggles. We can give them balls. They can, a lot of the equipment we use has been donated by our paddleball family that we give the kids to use at each clinic. So if we could have the funding to run clinics, because there is some expense involved. So it's just the enjoyment of seeing the kids play, something that they never did before. It gives us a good feeling and gives us the exposure we need, being here.
Right, and you don't need a whole lot of equipment, right?
Right.
A racket, a ball, and a wall.
Oh, you need a racket and a ball.
That's what it is.
And as Mitch said, we do have some, a small sponsorship like Gearbox, A1 Sports. They provide us a lot of, most of the funding that we use to buy goggles, paddles for the kids. In Bronx Indoor Paddleball Courts, it's a place where it's an indoor club, and the owner gives us the free courts to bring the kids and teach them the game with them.
Zariga, yeah.
Right. So, this always comes up when people try to learn a sport. How hard is it? How hard is it to learn? What is it? I mean, now you guys are pros, so just tell, how hard is it?
It's not hard at all. To become highly skilled takes many, many hours, but just to hit a ball and play around, it doesn't take a lot of skill. You just have to have that drive to get out and play.
It's a very simple sport. Like we were saying before, all you need is a paddle and a ball, and it's a family sport. In our sport, you see the mother, the father, the kids playing the game, and it's a great source of exercise. You can burn over 600 calories just playing in one game of paddleball. So it's a really good game. It's a family sport.
In just one game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to be playing against y'all.
Once in a while, bring it on, bring it on. Good play.
It won't be much of a game.
Don't worry about it. The whole point is that no matter what level you're at, you find your niche, and that's where you want to play with. But with the kids, if we start them young and get them involved, this way they can make their own games. Because handball is still big.
Right.
I mean, there's over 5,000 courts in the boroughs for handball. So it's the same wall. And it could be the same people. We're actually have people converting from handball to paddleball. So we start with the kids and we get them going.
And what's the response been like from the kids?
The what?
What's the response been like from the kids?
Well, they're intrigued. It's something new. It's something different. And just to get them moving, get them exercising. That's the thing. Instead of sitting there like this all day.
Right.
I mean, the response has been great, to your point, because like I was saying before, in our clinics we hold every Tuesday. We get from 25 to 40 kids, and they just love it. When it's time to go back, they just want to keep playing. So we see the enthusiasm there, which is good, So we're trying to,
keep the momentum going,
exactly.
keep them involved,
Right.
do it on a weekly thing. And in the summer, because we play ball all year long. We play indoors when it's winter time. We're still playing, so it doesn't shut down when the weather changes. It's great to be outdoors, but we have the clinics indoors, during the school year, and outdoors in the high school.
I definitely am not playing y'all. You play indoors, outdoors, season, all
join
season long. I can't mess with you. I'll come out for a lesson. How about that?
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And best wishes. Good to have
pleasure
you. All right?
seeing you.
Definitely.
Thank you, Darren.
A ball, a wall, and a racket. That's all you need.
That's
all
all you
right?
need.
Remember that. All right. Well, we want to thank our guest right here. We want to thank all of our guests, because guess what? We've come to the end of our show today. So yes, thank you to our guests for joining us, and most of all, you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, yes, you can catch the Recablecast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum's Channel 67. Verizon Files, you can catch us on Channel 33, or watch us anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. I'm Darren Hyman. It's been a pleasure to come into your homes. Make sure to keep this channel wide open. Stay safe, everybody. Take care, and God bless.